Dealing with incoming force, one aspect is dealing with the incoming force with the structure, right? If you have a strong structure, somebody pushes on you, your structure is able to resist. Okay, now Tai Chi is more than just developing the structure. Okay, structure can be hard, right? The more you develop, the harder it becomes, or the more durable it becomes. And at some point, right, it becomes so strong, right? Sometimes you do push hands with people. Some people are really strong, okay, because they develop this structure. Okay, now over time, that's a good thing to have. Over time, we need to internalize this, meaning that we rely less on the structure, more on relaxation. Okay, structure, relaxation. Now, when you relax, it means that you depend less on structure. Now, if you depend on less on structure, how do you deal with incoming force? You deal with the incoming force by utilizing the space that you create. Okay, here I'm holding a ball posture, right? I'm creating that space inside. Okay, if I'm holding like this, I'm creating this space. I'm holding it like this, I'm creating this space. Right, so the physical posture determines that space. And before we're able to utilize that space, we have to rely on this structure, the physical structure. Okay, it doesn't mean that there's no internal component involved. There is internal component involved in developing that structure, right? Through stance training, breathing, developing. It's still, could be internal connection. It's not purely physical. Okay, still there's internal connection involved. Okay, and over time we need to reduce even this internal connection that leads to structural integrity. We want to reduce the use of this and become more relaxed. Okay, in Tai Chi it's called Song. Okay, it's not exactly relaxation, but there's a big aspect of relaxation to the concept of Song in Chinese. Okay, it's like you don't really hold on to it. Okay, yeah, you're not really resisting anything, right? You're not holding on to, I have to maintain my posture. I have to maintain my balance. Okay, it's both mental and physical thing, right? Like you want to maintain that structure. You want to be stable. You want to stay in your root, right? Partially is physical and partially is the mind, right? What if you're not in your root, right? You're getting pushed back. Is that really a problem, right? Mentally, we as a normal person, when we do this, we cannot accept, oh, I'm getting pushed back, I'm not in my root. I need to stay in my root. Okay, I need to make sure I'm able to resist anything that comes in the way, right? So mentally speaking, when you think like this, right, there's no Song. Okay, mentally there's no Song. Mentally there's no relaxation. Mentally, you're holding on to this idea, okay, that you have to persist, okay, in this way of thinking, in this direction. And when you think like this, your body would naturally react to this thinking, okay, and to support your mind and create this structure and create this resistance and making sure that you stay in your root, you're not getting pushed back. Right? So Yes, so the mind and the body, they're so closely connected, they influence each other. Okay, mind influencing the body, but also reverse, body influencing the mind, right? Some people, they're just naturally more stiff than others, right? If you observe people that are naturally physically more stiff than others, they're mentally probably also more stiff than others. Mental stiffness, right? So it's like one influence the other. People that are naturally more physically relaxed, their mind is probably also more relaxed. They don't really resist other people's idea. They're more acceptive to other people's ideas, right? And Taijiquan as a Taijiquan to me represents more of the Chinese Taoist philosophy, right? Representing the concepts of yin and yang, right? So it's over time working with your body in a way that telling you not to resist, right? You have to follow nature. Okay, when you follow nature, when something becomes really, really hard, it's usually the ones that break first. The ones that are soft, the ones that are small, the ones that are relaxed, they're less easy to break, right? And this concept in Taijiquan, in Taoist philosophy, is very important for your martial arts training. Okay, that's why I consider Taijiquan to be an art that can help your martial arts, whatever martial arts you're doing. Okay, now going back to the idea of working with that space. Okay, you cannot start practicing Taijiquan thinking, let me work with my space and abandoning the physical structure. It's not going to work like that. Okay, you cannot directly work with that space. At some point in your training, you can. Okay, and in the beginning, for a while, okay, that you cannot work with that space. Okay, when you just relax, then you're just getting pushed over. Right, you cannot work with that space. You have to first understand how to strengthening the structure first. Okay, and gradually over time, as you become more internalized with your movements, then you're able to rely less on this and more on space, your space. So it seems like here, I'm relaxed, yes, like a balloon, a ball, right? The surface area is not hard. But if you press on it, like you press a balloon, you press a ball against a hard surface, okay, you cannot really get your force through it. Why? Because there's air inside, right? A ball or a balloon is able to utilize that air, is able to contain that air into something that's compressed and is able to naturally resist incoming force, right? That's one aspect. This means that the ball or the balloon is able to utilize the space it created on the inside, right? It doesn't use the surface layer to resist incoming force. It uses the space inside the surface layer. And Taijiquan training over time is to understand, okay, first I develop the surface layer. If there's no surface layer, you have no space to work with, right? You first have to define the surface layer, draw make the material of the ball or the balloon, right? And then over time, get air into it, or for us, get space into it and be able to utilize that space. And that space is empty and full at the same time, right? A ball or a balloon on the inside of the surface layer, okay, is it empty or full? It's both, right? It has nothing there if you go in and touch it, right? There's air inside, but it's full when you press on it, right? Now the surface layer, okay, is it empty or is it full? Harder to answer, right? But I would think it's both empty and full. Okay, but more importantly is to understand that space. Okay, so you have to define, establish, develop the layer, and over time rely on the inside. Okay, so it looks like I'm not full. Okay, but this space is working for me. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm working with the space through the physical layer. Okay, if there's no physical layer, I just use my mind and think, let me work with the space. Okay, let me exercise the space. Does it do anything? No, because you haven't defined or established that space. So first, beginning, you already start to define that space, establish that space, and then you start working with that space through the physical layer of the body. Any questions?
Yeah, Mark, you're defining a lot of the space through the arms and opening, it looks like. My question is, what's the starting point to define the structure? Would that be in the spine?
No. To define the structure. Wait, it's the whole skeleton system.
Yeah, the skeletal system. So how do you set the skeletal system so it's correct?
Oh, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as correct. I mean, there is such thing as correct, but there's no such thing as one standard.
Okay, yeah. Is there guidelines? I know it's confusing, and it wasn't a riddle. I promise. My question to you is there like certain guidelines that you can adopt? Is it like basic stance training stuff? I don't know. I'm just trying to really work on I got something going on in my neck and my cervical spine, and I'm trying to figure it out. So I'm trying to get the correct structure so that there's space for my body to heal.
Yeah, you have to be round, okay, and you have to have square. You have to have circle, you have to have square. I'm answering your question in an abstract way. Well, in Tai Chi principle, if you read the Tai Chi principle, okay, it actually says that the body, the exterior is round, and the interior is square. Okay, what does it mean? Okay, it means that when you're holding, let's say this is a very popular stance to hold. Okay, now when you hold that space, okay, you need to round your body, meaning that if you stand like this straight, like everything's straight, like nice posture, it's not round. Outside is not round. Okay, your force, because your body is linear, your force is linear. Okay, so to round the body, okay, just, you see the slight difference of rounding the body? Okay, if I stand like this, this is straight. Okay, which is very tense. It may not be stiff, but tense. Okay, now I relax into that structure. Right, I'm rounding the structure. Okay, but inside also has square. Okay, square is not round. Okay, meaning like, for example, I'm holding this posture with my arms, right? If I'm round, inside also becomes hollow. You understand my point? Okay, you want to create this pushing forward, back, pushing left and right, pushing up and down. Okay, when you push in all those 6 directions, you're actually defining the space as square, right, or rectangular. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, right, if you're only round on the inside, it means you don't need this 6 directional forces. You don't need to push, you just go round. Then you have no force to resist anything. Okay, no force to withstand anything. Okay, but the surface area has to be rounded off so that when force comes, it doesn't project incoming force. Okay, if you're not rounded, 100% of that force is projecting onto your body, like a car, right? A car, the exterior layer has all those curves for aerodynamic purpose, right? When the car is moving forward, right, and its air is resisting that car, okay? And if the car is made into a shape like a rectangular box, it's going to face a lot of resistance of the air. Right, now the car with the round curvatures by the doors, by the hood, right, is that when the air comes forward, when the air is creating that resistance, the air is traveling along this curves, so it gets off the car, and that's so less impact, less resistance on the car. Right, and some cars, they even like by the doors, right, like near the wheels, they have some space opening, like the sports cars, right, the doors and the wheels, right, that piece, you know, over there, they have openings so that less resistant air just goes through that opening. Yeah, so yes, so you need to round off like a ball, like a balloon. So force comes in, it goes around that surface area. Less is projected to the center. And then at the same time, inside that space, you need that 6 directional force. So that otherwise it becomes like a balloon without enough air inside. When you press on it, it cannot resist, right? It becomes just pressed in, right? Now, when you have enough air inside, it's actually able to hold the structure of the balloon, then you're okay, right? Okay.